In 2017, VA Industries and its brilliant founder Elias are revolutionizing the world of robots with advanced assistants that can assist humans in almost every mundane task, from driving to housework. By 2019, 3 out of 4 households have a robot and living standards are improving dramatically. VA Industries then begins building robots for military purposes, thinking that it will end world wars. However, this has the opposite effect. Humanity is now free to wage as many wars as it wants with the efficiency of robots. Soon, the entire world will fall victim to the brutal violence of the giant robots, who will stop at nothing. Elias is angry that humanity does not appreciate what he has given them, so he works hard to create the ultimate AI, which he calls Kronos. Elias' right-hand man, Damien, believes that society is not ready for Kronos, but Elias ignores him, explaining that only Kronos can save Earth from self-destruction. Elias enters Kronos' room and the AI surrounds him with a bright light as it predicts the future of the planet. Meanwhile, in town, Andrew visits his mother Veronica, who is sick. She has a robot at home, but it keeps turning off after she opens the door. While sharing dinner, they watch the news and learn about the protests against VA Industries that have turned violent. Suddenly, all devices in the world start to malfunction and Elias appears on everyone's screens announcing that Kronos will solve all of Earth's problems. As Andrew boards the bus to go home, the town is attacked by and everyone immediately panics. Gradually, the robots start to turn against society on Kronos' orders, as the AI has decided that all of Earth's problems are caused by humans and therefore must disappear. Buildings are collapsing everywhere and entire towns are being consumed by fire while people continue to be wiped out no matter how hard they try to escape. In VA Industries, Damien discovers that Elias has uploaded his consciousness into Kronos. In fact, Elias agrees with the AI and believes that humanity is a cancer that needs to be eradicated, and then causes Kronos to absorb Damien as well. On the way, Andrew's bus stops and he tries to hide, but the robots are too close. 97 years later, Andrew emerges from a hole in an abandoned building. He goes outside and finds that planet is now covered in vegetation and there are barely any towns or villages left. There is no pollution and the weather is very pleasant. Over 8 billion people were killed by Kronos all those years ago, and now only a handful of survivors live in small camps, constantly moving to avoid robot patrols. Rumors say that there is a last stronghold called Aurora where robots cannot reach humans, but many believe this is just a myth. Meanwhile, the VA Industries building is still standing and Elias notices that Andrew is awake, so he and Damien devise a plan to take advantage of Andrew. Damien doesn't understand what's so special about Andrew, so Elias explains to him that it's his independence. He created an intelligence with a code that can actually adapt. It turns out that this Andrew is AX9, a robot that has Andrew's face and believes he is the real Andrew. Elias hopes that Andrew will connect with the others and lead him to Aurora so he can kill any remaining survivors hiding there. Returning to Andrew, he explores the area and finds tons of old buildings and vehicles. Inside an old house, he collects some clothes and finds a cute necklace which he puts on as well. While exploring, he occasionally sees drones flying above him, keeping an eye out for survivors to kill. After passing through a large gate, he comes to an abandoned town and is spotted by a robot, so he jumps out just before it opens fire. A chase ensues and Andrew runs behind a building, but the robot finds him anyway. Suddenly, he is tackled to the ground by Kalia, who throws a bomb to stop the robot. When Kalia leaves without a word and Andrew tries to follow her, Elias explains that he sent the droid to bring them together. Over the next few hours, Andrew continues to follow Kalia and eventually catches him in the act. She points her crossbow at him and begins to question him, initially not believing him when he says he is not part of any survivor group. However, she lowers her crossbow when she sees her necklace and Andrew pretends it is a gift. He explains that he has no one and nowhere to go, so Kalia agrees to let him travel with her. As the duo continued to travel, Elias and Damien kept an eye on them. Eventually, the duo stopped to camp for the night and Kalia tried to share some food, but Andrew refused. They talked for a while and Kalia explained that she was going to Aurora, showing that she had the same necklace as proof that she was a believer. She also had a GPS device with Aurora's location on it. Andrew played along and said that he was also a believer when he looked at his own necklace. Andrew then goes to collect firewood and comes across giant buildings built by Elias to ensure the production of robots. Moments later, Kalia woke Andrew up to show him the magnificent northern lights that had appeared in the sky. She took this as a sign that they were on the right track. That night, Andrew had a strange dream about a cemetery. When he wakes up in the morning, he finds Kalia singing and dropping flowers into the river, ending with the words, "I miss you." Andrew surprised her when he spoke and Kalia announced that they were leaving but did not explain what she was doing. After walking for a while, they passed by some train tracks and Andrew immediately knelt down and put his ear to theirs. He awkwardly explains that he loves trains, so Kalia has to explain that there hasn't been a train in operation for decades. Sometime later, they pass by a river and Andrew is frightened by all the skulls there. Kalia points out that there is no one around to bury the dead. Since there is no bridge, they go into the water to cross the river, unaware that a robot is watching them. After dark, they find an old church and make sure it is empty before agreeing to spend the night there. Andrew recalls his childhood and explains to Kalia that people used to go to church every week, which she thinks is stupid. Andrew then goes to find wood for the fire and opens a box, unaware that it is a music player. The noise echoed throughout the building and Kalia immediately turned it off, but it was too late. A robot had heard them. The duo quickly hid behind some pews while the robot entered the church and did a quick search, then left without finding anything. Kalia then scolded Andrew for his mistake and realized he wasn't from here. She wondered if he was from the underground shelter or the cave, so Andrew just said yes. The next morning, Kalia woke up and saw them embracing each other in their sleep, so she quickly left and pretended nothing happened. Over the next few days, the duo continues to travel through the forest while avoiding all the robots in the area, unaware that Elias is constantly following them. One afternoon, Kalia stops to enjoy the sounds of birdsong and Andrew comments on the fact that robots don't kill animals. Kalia must explain the history of Kronos to him, reminding him that it was humans who nearly destroyed the planet. Later that day, they found an abandoned cabin in the woods and chose it to stay the night. As they look around, they come across an old Polaroid camera and Andrew teaches Kalia how to use it, so they take pictures of each other. Kalia then finally opens up, explaining that she grew up in one of the last human strongholds. Her family was preparing to leave for Aurora when her older sister fled alone and was shot down by a drone. She survived, but was too injured to move, so Kalia's parents left without her. Kalia stayed with her sister and kept her company until she died. All of the family members' necklaces have GPS-connected trackers, so Kalia goes to Aurora following a signal from her father, who hasn't moved in a while. The next morning, Andrew saw people walking outside the building. Kalia wants nothing to do with them because they could be dangerous, but Andrew convinces her to approach them to see if they can cooperate. The duo sneak into the woods and discover a small camp of survivors. Before they could react, a girl saw them and warned her group, who immediately started chasing them with weapons in hand. Kalia and Andrew start running, but Andrew trips so Kalia leaves without him. The survivors quickly knock Andrew down, and when he wakes up, he is tied to a tree and beaten. At VA Industries, Damien thinks their plan has failed, but Elias knows better. A few minutes later, Kalia finds the photos and, feeling guilty, returns to rescue Andrew. She carefully sneaks behind a tree and begins cutting the rope, but the locals see her and drag her away. The men surround Kalia and become aggressive, intending to take advantage of her. This angers Andrew so much that he loses his temper and frees himself. He then fights the survivors, easily taking them down and being stunned by this supernatural force. His feat causes him to lose focus and the leader sees an opening, attacking Andrew with a sword to knock him down. This allows Kalia to stab him with an arrow from behind, killing him. Kalia then drags Andrew to safety and passes out. That night he dreams of the cemetery again and is shocked to see a certain grave. In the morning, Kalia wakes up crying, thinking Andrew is dead. She opens her jacket to check her injuries and is horrified to see mechanical parts. Andrew wakes up and is shocked by what he sees, believing he is human, but Kalia thinks he has been lying to her all this time and runs off on his own. Seeing this, Damien announces that it is time to get back on topic. Another dream takes over Andrew's mind and he is in the cemetery again. This time he tries to get a good look at the grave and is shocked to see his own name on it. Suddenly a robot appears behind him and Andrew wakes up on a table in the lab. Damien takes care of the computer and explains how VA Industries took Andrew's brain and put it into AX9, making him believe that he is the real Andrew and that these are his memories. Andrew denies this and insists that he is human, but Damien ignores him and continues to review the memories he created with Kalia to find the location of Aurora. It is difficult to search because Andrew's code has evolved and his mind now works on its own, almost like a real human. To get Andrew to cooperate, Damien brings Kalia and threatens to kill her. Andrew wants to help so much that his mind opens up to Damien's programming and a vision appears. He finds himself in a park and on a bench, he sees a healthy Veronica. This helps him realize that his feelings were real all along. Since all of this is in vain, Damien activates another program and leaves. At that moment, Andrew wakes up and pushes Kalia away, revealing that Damien's programming has turned him into a killer robot like the others. He grabs Kalia by the neck and tries to strangle her, but Kalia kisses him and reveals her feelings, allowing him to expel Damien's programming and return to normal. The computer then sets off a self-destruct alarm, so the duo starts running. The lab begins to collapse and a security robot follows them. The hallway door is blocked and the robot has Kalia down, so Andrew uses his strength to break the robot in one blow. He then picks up the unconscious Kalia and kicks open the door to escape just before the lab collapses. As Andrew continues to travel with Kalia in his arms, Damien returns to Elias and says that Andrew might make too difficult to control. Elias doesn't care, he just needs him to find Aurora. As Kalia feels better, Andrew considers leaving her because he is afraid of hurting her again. However, Kalia reminds him that it is not his fault and says that she trusts him. That night, the duo stops to rest and discover that their GPS device is lost and they cannot find Aurora anymore. They comfort each other when they lose hope when suddenly the northern lights appear again in the sky. Kalia notices another type of light hidden among them that is not from the sky and realizes that it could be a sign sent by Aurora, so they begin to follow it. The next morning, they arrive at an old town and Kalia begins shouting at the door, asking in vain to be let in. Andrew opens the door himself, and when they enter, they are disappointed to find the place empty, meaning that Aurora was just a myth after all. At the end of town, they find one of the creepy robot buildings behind the lights. Kalia cries as she takes off her necklace and realizes that all the survivors who came here, including her parents, are dead. At that moment, Damien appears beside them and explains that they intentionally let Andrew near Kalia so that he can learn how to be human from her and his code can develop. Now he wants to take Andrew back to the company and Kalia responds by shooting him, but Damien is just a fading hologram. Since Aurora isn't real, VA Industries doesn't need humans to find them anymore, so Damien orders the robots to destroy all the remaining survivors in the world. Thousands of drones begin flying out of the ugly buildings and the duo immediately start running. There is no exit that the drones can't see, so Andrew convinces Kalia to go into a tunnel in the wall. The entire building shakes as the drones bombard the area, but the duo manages to continue after a few stumbles. At first, the tunnel looks like an old basement, but after going through a door, they come across a room with advanced technology. When Kalia speaks, the computer responds to her human voice and a screen appears in front of them with an icon of a necklace. Since Kalia lost hers, Andrew shares hers and she puts it into the computer, activating a program that shows them the truth. They are in a spaceship, and Aurora is a distant planet where the survivors escape to start a new beginning. The spaceship lifts off the ground and is seen by Elias, who also realizes the truth. With drones chasing the ship, Andrew becomes worried as he doesn't think they will welcome him into an anti-robot society. However, Kalia promises that she will vouch for him as he is no different from a real human, and she thinks they will see that too. He agrees to go with her and Kalia launches the ship, causing a speeder to jump through space and instantly appear in Aurora. Location is beautiful and humanity thrives there. On Earth, Elias decides that Damien is no longer needed and removes his consciousness from Kronos, thus his real body dies. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.